okay? So tonight, after tonight's class, you're gonna see chapter 2 video, chapter 3 video, and a brisket math video, okay? So that way you can go back and check them if you need to. So this one, we're gonna apply a lot of the different concepts that we've gone through. What I want you to do on this piece of paper, okay? I've given you enough space in between each number. Do another one? Okay, sorry. I've given you enough space in between each number that I want you to write out the formula, okay? Write out the formula. So draw like, let's see. Draw like a dotted line, or you can just imagine it if you want to. You don't have to draw it out. But divide this space in half. The top portion of the line is going to be the formula. And then underneath the line, we're going to put the numbers in. That way, when you go back to do your homework, you're going to remember where we got the numbers from. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay. So the first question is asking us how many portions are in a 12-pound brisket. Okay. So the first thing we have to do is the AP weight. So your paper should look exactly like mine. Okay. The AP weight. Let me just a little bit more. I don't have to write so small. Okay. So we're looking for the AP weight. Okay. And I'm going to multiply by the yield factor percentage. Okay. The AP weight times the yield factor percentage. And that's going to give me my edible portion. Okay. Give me my edible portion. Now, what is my starting weight? Pounds, right? What is my serving size? Ounces. Do those two units match? No. So how do we get our units to match? We have to multiply this by 16 ounces, right? And that's going to give us our edible portion in ounces. See so far? The last thing we're going to do is divide by the serving size. Okay? Divide by the serving size. We'll use a different color. So what is my as purchased weight? 12 pounds. Okay, we see it right here, 12 pounds. What is my yield factor up in the directions? 55% right here, 55%. Okay. Before you do any math, okay, this is what I would do. I would draw a line right there. Draw a line right there, okay? What's our next step in our formula? Multiply by 16 ounces, okay? And that's gonna give us another number. And then what is our serving size? 6 ounces. So see, you're setting yourself up to go from left to right, okay? So now, what is 12 pounds times 0.55? 6.6. I start with 12 pounds, and after I've trimmed and smoked the brisket, I only end up with 6.6 pounds of edible portion. okay? Brisket has a lot of moisture in it. So as you smoke it, it's gonna shrink. So now I need to divide or multiply by 16 ounces, right? And to get how many? Say it loud and proud. 105.6 ounces. And now, because my units match, I can divide by 6 ounces. So 105.6 ounces divided by my 6-ounce portions gives me 17.6 servings. Okay? 17.6 servings. Yes. There's 16 ounces in 1 pound. So if I need to convert 6.6 pounds to the total number of ounces, I'm going to multiply by 16. Okay? That's okay. You're a hospitality student. I'll forgive you. All right. So that's how we get 17.6 servings. We all see how that comes out? Questions, comments, concerns? Yes. Oh, I'm so sorry. All right. So 17.6 servings is what we get. That's our first answer. Okay. Now let's go down to the next one. Number 2, the same thing. We're going to do the formula at the top, and the bottom we'll actually put the numbers in. Okay. So the formula for how much money in sales should he expect to bring in from a 12-pound brisket? We're going to take the number of servings times the selling price. Number of servings times the selling price. That's our total sales. Not all of them are super crazy long like the first one is. So changing colors. How many servings do we get? 17.6 servings. How much do we sell it for? $16.95. So $16.95 times 17.6 is $298.3. 32, sorry. Thank you. All right. So that tells me I should bring in $298.32 for every brisket that I sell. Okay. Now, this is taking into account 0.6 of a serving. Can I sell somebody 0.6 of a serving? No, I don't want to short somebody's like 0.6 of a serving, right? So what we could do is we could call it 17 servings, right? And then that way, just in case, maybe our pit master goes ahead and gives somebody 7 ounces instead of 6 ounces. It's still covered because we have this 0.6 as kind of like a grace period, right? A little bit of extra, okay? Other thing is, when you're a big caterer, chances are you're probably not going to be serving just one brisket. So for every extra brisket you sell, that's an extra serving out of that, right? So you have to decide, do you keep it 17.6 or do you make it 17? Whatever you decide is fine to be consistent for the rest of the way down, okay? Questions, comments, concerns about that? In Canvas, I believe there's a quiz about this, okay? And I have given you range of answers so that if you keep it as a whole number or you keep the decimal, Canvas should count it correctly for you, okay? Regardless of either way we choose, okay? Questions, comments, concerns about that? All right. Question number 3, chugging right along. What is the portion cost of the 12-pound brisket? Okay. Portion cost. So we take our total cost divided by the number of portions. Total cost divided by our number of portions. Hold on. Let me think. Yes and no. Hopefully you weren't using pen. As purchase cost times the as purchased weight equals our total cost. Sorry, I didn't tell you how to get the total cost. So our as purchased cost times the as purchased weight gives us our total cost. And now we divide by the number of servings. The first half of your class is always a repeat of what I did yesterday. So yesterday is like my trial run, and then y'all are like moving forward. The second half of y'all are my trial run, and then tomorrow I'll be perfect. All right, so as purchase cost times as purchase weight. So let's put our numbers in now. What is our as purchase cost? $2.50 per pound, which is very cheap brisket, times our 12 pounds, which is our weight. 250 times 12 is $30. That's our total cost. And we're going to keep going with our decimal, 17.6 servings. Okay, 17.6 servings. So my cost per serving is what? $1.70. Okay. That is my cost per serving. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, on a scale of 1 to 5. Show me with your hands. Scale of 1 to 5. 1 is like not familiar at all. 5 is super familiar. On a scale of 1 to 5, how familiar does question number 4 look? The concept of question number 4. On a scale of 1 to 5. And be honest, it's okay. How clear does that question look? Okay. I see a good range of numbers. All right. So what are we looking for in this question? Food cost percentage. What tool are we going to use here? We're going to use our triangle here. Okay. We have our cost, percent, sales. What I would recommend, as you are still practicing and getting familiar with this, is go ahead and draw your triangle. Okay. And then draw a blank triangle. And we're looking for the percentage. So we're going to cover up percentage and what is left over. The cost and the sales. How much is our cost? $1.70. Go ahead and write the numbers in the little sections. How much do we sell it for? $16.95. And now we have our math problem. $1.70 divided by $16.95. And what do we get? .11 exactly? Or any more decimals? $100. Well, I guess that's almost right because that's almost 17. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so it'd be 10%. Move that decimal place over 2, and it's a 10% food cost. 10% food cost. Which makes sense because $6.95 is 5 cents away from 17. So that's almost 10%. Okay. Questions about 1 through 4. All right, so 1 through 4 is kind of like one section, and then 5 through 8 is a second section. Okay. So we're going to go back to some kind of long, convoluted formulas. So let's work together for number 5. Okay, number 5. Chris booked a party of 250 people. They are all having brisket, thankfully. How many briskets does he need, or how many pounds, I should say, probably? How many? Yeah. How many total pounds of brisket does Chris need to purchase for the party? Okay. So again, we're going to divide our section in half so we can go step by step. Okay. So we have the number of guests times the serving size. Okay. The number of guests times the serving size. That equals our edible portion. Our edible portion. Okay. In this case, it's going to be in ounces. We need to apply the yield factor percentage. So do we multiply or do we add? Or sorry, do we multiply or do we divide? Okay, look at our triangle from your notes. We're looking for the as purchased, I'm sorry. We're looking for the as purchased. How much does he need to purchase? So if we're looking for the as purchased, what do we do with the yield percentage? We divide by the yield factor percentage, okay? That will give us our as purchased in ounces. So how many guests are we buying for? 250 guests. We have a 6-ounce serving size. So 250 times 6 is 1,500 ounces. Okay. If I only purchased 1,500 ounces of brisket, what's going to happen when I get it? It's going to shrink and I'm going to have less, right? That's why we have to do the yield factor, which is what? 0.55. So 1,500 divided by 0.55 is 2,727.27 ounces. I need to order 2,727 ounces. Do I call Cisco and say, hey, Cisco, I need 2,727 ounces? No. How do we usually order meat? By the pound, right? So what do we have to do here? Divide by 16, right? We're going from bigger to smaller. So in this case, we're dividing by 16 ounces. And you get a roughly 170.5 pounds. Okay. I need to order 170.5 pounds in order to make sure I have enough to feed 250 people. Okay. So what's the total cost of the brisket for the party? My total cost is by as purchase cost. This one's super simple. times the total weight. Gives me my total cost. Okay. So what is my as purchased cost from the top? $2.50 per pound. And I need 170.5 pounds. $426.25. That's how much money I'm spending on brisket. You're like, what? Over $400 in brisket? That's crazy. Right? $426 in brisket. But that's 250 people, right? So 250 people times $16.95, which is what I'm selling it for. My total sales is $4,237.50. So it makes sense that I'm going to subtract $400 worth of that to cover the cost of my brisket. The rest of it is not necessarily profit, right? I may have to do plates, plasticware, pay somebody to cook, smoke and slice and serve my brisket, right? So it's not necessarily just pure profit at the end. There's other expenses. Your profit's going to come out at the end after you've covered all your other expenses, okay? All right. So we want to have a 10% overage. Oftentimes when you're catering, you're gonna factor in a little bit of overage for people that don't show up or people that show up that didn't RSVP. Maybe your servers, maybe your buffet people are serving more meat, right? And they should. So a lot of different things. We're gonna add in a little extra. So we take, this is the last two. We take our total weight. Okay. Take our total weight needed times the percentage increase. Okay. So in this case, what was our total weight needed? 170.5 pounds, right? And we're going to multiply that by our percent increase, which is 10%. What did we learn today from chapter 2? What can we add to this? Add a 1, right? And they'll give us our automatic answer. We don't have to add anything at the end. So 170.5 times 1.1, 187.55 pounds, or yeah, 187.55 pounds. That's how much I need to have extra. That's how much I need to order total in order to make sure I have enough. And the nice thing is that you can feed your staff, right? If there's extra brisket, they can eat brisket for the day. So you can feed the staff as well. That's also really helpful. And then the last thing is, how much will it cost to buy the brisket for the whole parties, including the overage? So again, we just go back to our $2.50 per pound. We repeat what's in question number 6 times the 187.55. $468.88. Okay. Oh no, that's the word per pound. Sorry. 250 per pound times the 187.55 pounds. Ooh, we covered a lot today. All right, before I leave tonight, okay, before I leave tonight, which may be a little bit later because I have a paper that's due I have to finish before I do this. But before I leave tonight, I'm going to assign all the due dates to Canvas, okay? So let me show you real quick something. We have about 3 minutes left. So let me just show you. I'm going to show you my other cost control class since I know that I have the due dates in there. For those of you who are not familiar, or maybe your other teachers don't use due dates in Canvas as much, but your to-do list on this side over here, okay, your to-do list is everything in order based on the due dates, okay? Everything in order based on the due dates. If you look in the assignments, the due dates are like all over the place. It is not organized in any way at all, okay? So the best way for you to see is click on syllabus right here. Click on syllabus and it'll automatically show you on the day everything that is due on that specific day, okay? So if you click on syllabus, that is when all of it's organized by the date, okay? You can also click on your dashboard, okay? When you click on your dashboard, your to-do list is prioritized based on all of your classes that your teachers have deadlines and due dates in, right? So that way you don't come to my class and start working on this when you have another class that something's due earlier. So the dashboard in Canvas is a great tool to help you prioritize your time based on all of your classes. Okay, for me, it's everything I have to grade, but for you, it'll be all of your classes. The last thing is you can also click your calendar. So in your calendar, it will also show you all of your classes. It'll populate all of your classes of the due dates based on what you have going on, okay? So these are a couple of ways that you can stay organized and prioritize your time compared to all of your classes, not just mine, okay? So I'll get these videos posted. I'll get your due dates turned in, assigned before you leave tonight. Please go by the due dates that are in Canvas, okay? All the due dates that are in your calendar that I gave out last week, I'm gonna adjust them to give you a little bit more time on these first 2 weeks, okay? Questions, comments, concerns? Thank you so much. Have a great night. I'll see you next week on Wednesday.